Just wanted to talk about some of the stuff we took with us on the West Highland Way, just to round that section off before we move on to the next adventures. I just wanted to talk about some of the stuff we took with us, some of the stuff we've learnt along the way, and maybe some of the things we could have taken that we didn't need. First things first, the bag I took was the Rook 65. It's a great bag. It's the first bag I've got, which is of a substantial amount for extended hikes and stuff. I've normally got day hikes and sort of overnight bags, which are sort of 45 litres and above. This is the biggest bag I've ever had. So I took a little bit of research and stuff. The only thing I wish this bag had was the pocket on the front to put bits and pieces in. This is the only thing that it lacks for me. It's got all the good hip straps, brilliant AirScape stuff to keep the weight off your back, and ventilated, so also adjustable. And we've also got some nice bits down the side here for adjustments and stuff, so that's all really great. In terms of packaging, in the top, first thing I've got is the waterproof trousers, amongst a few bits and pieces of snacks. Waterproof trousers are essential for the West Highland Way because it rains, although we were quite lucky, to be fair. So yeah, they are some nice waterproof trousers there, which I only wore a couple of times, to be fair. Like that, a few bits and pieces of snacks, stuff like that. We also had some of the dehydrated expedition meals, and also took a couple of Wayfarer meals with me, but the Wayfarer meals are a lot heavier, so we kind of got rid of those quite quick. That's about it on the top. A few snacks, a few drinks and stuff, so that's all good. In the side pockets I had some more little snacks like flapjacks and bits and pieces like that, and down here was the water to go filtration system that I took. I opted against the bladder in the end, decided that I didn't want the bladder in my bag. I found it hard to refill and put it back in my bag, so I opted with bottles and thought that'd be great, but this one obviously filters your water as well, which is great stuff. The one on the other side I've got is what I took with me as well, just for ease of access. On the other side I had my tent poles, because they are quite large, so rather than pack them in the tent pack, I put them on the side of the bag so that I could fit stuff in the sack a little bit easier. So in the top, first things first was waterproof coat, folded up meticulously so that it fits. So obviously, again, due to the weather, if it's bad, then we can grab that nice and easy. Mixing up, nothing in there at the minute, but at the time I had a spare pair of clothes in all the wet sacks. These are OEX ones, there are others I'm sure, but these are the ones I've got. Yeah, spare pair of clothes and hat and gloves, which I have on today. They're here, nice ones, so you can still use your phone on them and stuff. Nice hat. Next up was the stove. I was a little bit mad and took 3 stoves. This one, which has, this is my little bag, so it's got some spare bits and pieces in it. It's also got, I had some mini Nalgene bottles with some bits and pieces in those. I had a spork, because everybody needs a spork. And the stove I have is the Primus stove, which is pretty much a jet boil. You know, that bit screws on the bottom of that, that screws onto the gas, all good. But it's nice to get it all packed in on itself. Again, I've never had a jet boil, but that one seems to do the same thing, and it boils in real quick time. So accompanying that, I had this little setup, which is more sort of bushcrafty. Inside there is the tub. I could there's my normal cup size, and this is the pot that I would cook with. I also had a spare mini Gillette stove, which is much the same as these stoves, but just a lot more smaller. I also had a knife for prepping food and bits and pieces, a fancy spoon that folds out on itself, that's quite cool. Probably more of a gadget than anything else, but I also bought with me a Trangia, trusty Trangia. Never used it, tried to, but I've since learned in the cold temperatures they don't work so well, and you need to keep them warm. So that's worth remembering. That's the stove setup, that's all done. Next up, just felt bits. Next up is the kit which we use for medication, paracetamol, ibuprofen, that kind of stuff. We also had some foot tape and bits and pieces to keep us clean and tidy. Bathroomy bits. We've got some toothpaste and cream, and inside this little one here is some talcum powder, because talcum powder is great to have on your feet at the end of the day, keep them dry and fresh, keep yourself clean and keep yourself going. Mini first aid kits, bits and pieces like that. Carla had a hairbrush, which was, you know, her stuff, that's cool. Half a ton of makeup as well. Bamboo toothbrush, long one, but it's lightweight and you know, environmentally friendly, and all your first aid bits in there as well. In my bag, as well as that first aid kit, I had a grab first aid kit that was in the side pocket. That was easy to grab. Again, that had bits and pieces in it. Open it out, the micropore tape, some also the heat blankets and spare bits and pieces like that, bandages and tape for any injuries. Fortunately, we were lucky enough, didn't have any injuries. That was great, we looked after that. Microfiber towel, it's great for many things, obviously showers and stuff along the way, which is great. Inside your tent for condensation, all those kinds of stuff. Multiple use tools, all great things. With the water to go bottle, Carla also had the Sawyer mini squeeze, which is part of that. We never used it, but we've heard bad things about the bag splitting and stuff, but I've not experienced that yet. In my water, I use these a lot. These are the Sporting Science salt tabs. I never really thought much of them until I was walking long distances on multiple days. It was they're great for cramps and stuff essentially, and that really made a difference along the way for me. In terms of nav, Carla's trusty book, it's the Cicerone for the West Highland Way. Also has a map book inside it, which I had most of the time, and although the West Highland Way is really well signposted, I'd never been to Scotland before other than to dip in and dip out on a national three peaks, so I've never really seen much of it. So this was nice to sort of help you fall in love with the place, really, to be fair. It was nice, easy descriptions and stuff, and it was really nice to pair that up with the the map, so we knew where we were going. It's really descriptive, really handy. This is the other part of the stove that I took with me, which is called a Trangia. It's just a fold-away stove, so the Trangia can sit in it, and it's got a bit of a wind guard. So again, never used it. So more excessive weight for no reason, but I like to play with toys, so that's kind of what that was about. With the tent, on the bottom of the tent, it's all been fab sealed. I treated it all before I left, and I used the tarp for a ground sheet, because they don't make the ground sheets for the tarp for the particular tent that I have. And sleeping setup, then these things are amazing. I've got a Thermarest at home, but it's really thin, although it's really nice, and some more lightweight pack and stuff. It's really thin, so it gave me a little bit of pain in my hips as I'm a side sleeper. So I bought this complete fraction of the cost. This is a Trackology UL80. They're a bit of a big thing at the minute. Lots of people talking about them. I've not had a bad experience with that at all. It's good because it's a thick mat, and it inflates really well, so really quick and easy. Accompanying that, I had the lift pillow 2.0, which is really great. It's got a strap on it that straps around the mat, so that stops it from slipping away from you when you're asleep. It's really great stuff. On the bottom of the bag, I had my sleeping bag, which is the Leviathan Evolution X. It's a down bag, but a cheaper version. Really brilliant stuff. Kept me really warm. The only thing I was concerned about is the fact that it's a down bag, and if down gets wet, then it becomes useless. So I bought with that the Bush Pro bivvy. So the bivvy went over the bag, and I packed it at the time. Packed the sleeping bag away in its compression sack with the bivvy on it, and then obviously if the bag got any wet in it, then it didn't matter either way. So it was always kept dry and safe. And then finally, the last thing we had in the bag, as I mentioned, the tent. That is the Banshee 300. We used that because it's good enough for the two of us, and gave us a lot of room for both of us. And yeah, it was a great tent. It's quite heavy, and I nearly bought another tent beforehand, to be fair, but in the interest of finances, we decided to stay with this one. And in fairness, it didn't do us any problems, and it wasn't too bad. All in all, that essentially is the bag. Another thing I had was the sit mat, which I'm using right now. It's really great stuff. And all in all, the bag weighed in at 15 kilograms. That was with all of the stuff, and also the food and the water as well. So not too bad. Throughout some days, obviously we would use more food in there, and then it would be lighter, but then I'd fill it up with more water. So it was kind of swings and roundabouts. I don't think it was any ever under sort of 14 kilograms, to be fair. But due to the nature of the bag, it sits on your hips really nicely. It's really good. Another thing I had with me for recording most of it was my telephone. It's just a basic smartphone. I also brought with me this, which is the DJI Mavic 2 mini drone. I bought it days before I left, and I even had to buy the SD card on the way up. Never used it, never flown it. Had to do my little online license thing in the car on the way up as Carla was driving. And first time I flew it was in Scotland. It was amazing. I think it's an awesome addition to the kit, and hopefully I won't end up putting it in the water. Yes, the other thing I want to talk about, buffs. What an amazing piece of kit. So I had this, multiple uses again, face mask, keep up here. You can also have it as a hat, which is what I use it many times. If it's really, really bad, you can bring it back down here, bring the bottom bit over the top. Got balaclava. Yeah, you can use them wiping things again, flannel. Yeah, multiple uses, great stuff. Obviously, one item, multiple uses means less kit to carry, doesn't it? So, yep, great stuff. Always recommend a buff. So that's the kit we took on the West Island Way. To be fair, obviously, like I said, I like to play with toys, so that's why I took so many bits and pieces. Probably didn't need to take as much as I did. But you know, when you're out, you want to kind of cash in on all the stuff that you've got. To be fair, so that's that's kind of my excuse for that. In terms of food, there was loads of places along the way. As long as you plan ahead and look at your maps and stuff, there's lots of places to eat food. But obviously, it's always good to have bits and pieces with you just in case. Water was the same. There's lots of really accessible shops and pubs and bits and pieces like that. There was even a water fountain at one point, which is which is really cool. Other than that, we were using fresh water off the mountains and then using the filtration systems, which was great. Really, quite liberating, and it makes you feel free because you can kind of live off the land a little bit. It's quite nice. Yeah, that's us then. That's the West Island Way rounded up. Just thought I'd come down today to finish that, and then so we can move on to the new stuff now. We're now in 2022, so hopefully we can talk about some more adventures that are coming up this year. So there's things in the pipeline. Keep watching.
Ready?